In the quiet town of Smallville, nestled amid the rolling fields of Kansas, a baby's cry pierced the night. Jonathan and Martha had just become the accidental guardians of a mysterious secret. They had found a baby in a mysterious spacecraft that had crashed into their cornfield. Unbeknownst to them, this child, named Clark, was no ordinary child. Raised with strong values, he grew into the mild-mannered reporter, Clark Kent. By day, he reported for the Daily Planet, but by night, he faced supervillains and fought to keep his city safe from crime. Now, this truly iconic storyline is, of course, that of Superman. Superman appeared in his context to meet the needs of his society and the problems that they faced. When trouble strikes, Clark dons his iconic blue and red suit and becomes Superman, the Man of Steel. He fights a range of villains, including the brilliant but malevolent Lex Luthor and the powerful alien General Zod. And the narrative often explores his personal struggles to balance his dual identity, maintain a relationship with Lois Lane, and grapple with the responsibilities of being a symbol of hope. Superman's unwavering commitment to truth, justice, and morality underpins the story, making him a timeless beacon of heroism. The character of Superman was created in the 1930s by two Jewish teenagers, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. In their context, the Great Depression was in full force, anti-Semitic rhetoric was on the rise, and World War II was in the not-too-distant future. They created Superman to defend the poor and the oppressed and fight for justice, and in doing so, ultimately created the symbol for American patriotism. In our own context, right here in Aotearoa, we too are finding ourselves longing for symbols of hope. The political landscape continues to be charged. With this week alone, we have seen immigration woes, the continued pressure of the cost of living crisis, and questions about how we care for the most vulnerable in our society. And here in Auckland, many of us are feeling the pinch of rising rents, ongoing housing and food insecurity, and the strain on mental health services. And in the heart of Auckland city centre, St Matthew in the city continues to offer a place of reflection, of community, and of theological inquiry for those navigating the complex realities of urban life. Within these walls, people bring questions shaped by economic pressure, exclusion, spiritual searching, and the ongoing task of living with integrity in a challenging world. It remains a space where social justice, faith, and public life intersect. A church that holds space for doubt as well as belief and recognises the dignity and struggle of all of those who walk through its doors. And it's in times like these that it's no wonder we often yearn for a Superman figure, a heroic intervention, someone or something to lift us out of the complexity and pain in our world. But our Christian story doesn't give us Superman, it gives us Jesus, the incarnate God who does not stand above our suffering, but enters into it with us. In today's Gospel, we meet Thomas, and we've nicknamed him Doubting Thomas over the centuries, but perhaps he was honest Thomas, longing, like so many of us, for reassurance, for something tangible. Thomas asks to see the scars Jesus bears, and what strikes me is Jesus' response. He doesn't rebuke or belittle Thomas. Instead, he meets him with compassion. He offers his wounded, resurrected body, saying in essence, "Here I am. In your doubt, I am with you." In our own context, that same longing persists. In a world where trust in institutions is eroding, where truth feels contested, and where many feel left behind or unseen, people are still looking for something they can touch. Evidence that hope is real, and that justice isn't just a concept, but is something embodied. Like Thomas, we are not asking for perfection. We are asking to know that God is not far off, but is present in the messiness of this world. It reminds me of what is said about Superman. There is no divine Superman without the humanity of Clark Kent. The divine is made meaningful because it shares in our human limitations. In Jesus, we find that same truth. There is no risen Christ without the wounded Christ, no resurrection without the crucifixion, no glory without deep scars. The resurrection does not erase the pain of the past. Instead, it transforms it. And that's the gospel. Not a God who swoops in to rescue us from a distance, but one who stands beside us, breathes with us, suffers with us, and shows us that wounds are not the end of the story. When Jesus appears to Thomas, Thomas responds in recognition and in awe, "My Lord and my God." It is not just a declaration of belief, it's a cry from someone who has encountered the divine in the middle of his confusion and his grief. This gospel moment invites us to stop imagining faith as the absence of doubt and struggle. Faith isn't certainty, it's courage. It's being willing to stay in the questions long enough to encounter the risen Christ. So what does it mean that God chooses to be with us like this? It means that in our ongoing efforts to build a just and living society, in our protests, in our prayers, in our feeding of the hungry and welcome of the outcast and sheltering of the unhoused, Christ is not only beside us, but lives and moves through us. The incarnation is not, therefore, a one-time event. It is ongoing. Christ is still being revealed through our lives and our longings. So at St. Matthew's, our calling is not to transcend our humanity, but to engage it thoughtfully and faithfully. This is a community that recognizes complexity, both in the world and within ourselves, and seeks to respond with clarity, compassion, and action. We are not waiting for simple solutions or distant heroes. Instead, we are invited to recognize Christ already present with us in the work of justice, in the commitment to building community, and in the ongoing search for truth. This is the steady and often difficult work of discipleship, grounded not in a spectacle, but in solidarity and practice. So as we carry the scars of our own lives and of our own communities, may we find peace not in avoiding pain, but in knowing that we are not alone in it. May we, like Thomas, find ourselves surprised by faith in barren places, and may we echo his words, not as a conclusion, but as a beginning. My Lord and my God. Amen.